and Daewoo, free the land, on another great day of resistance. On this day, I will be honoring and commemorating the indigenous Igbo ancestors of Jamaica, who on this day, March 22nd, 1816, planned, plotted, and strategized one of the largest slave rebellions and slave resistance in Jamaican history. This courageous slave rebellion was led by 3 Igbo freedom fighters. One of those Igbo freedom fighters would be initiated as a king of the Igbo people on the island of Jamaica. The Igbo-Jamaican origins on the island of Jamaica goes back to the horrific British transatlantic slave trade, where they would initiate one of the most horrific slave trades out of the Bight of Biafra. There were 2 main ports, Kalabari and Bonny, where so many enslaved Igbo peoples were taken from that region and brought to the western region of the world, where they took them to Jamaica and where they took them to Virginia. Virginia was the highest concentration of Igbo enslaved peoples being brought to the Western Hemisphere. Behind them was the island of Jamaica. Much of the Jamaican culture is heavily influenced by the Igbo culture in the northwest and the west region of the Jamaican island. Between 1790 and 1807 would be the highest concentration of Igbo enslaved peoples being brought to the island by the British Empire. The Igbo influence in the northwestern part of Jamaica was heavy, where they influenced resistance and rebellions in that area and high concentrations between 1815 and 1817. Also, the Jamaican language was heavily influenced by the Igbo language. The Jamaican language, Patois, has many Igbo words in it. Also heavily influenced in the Jamaican western part of Jamaica is the spirituality systems. Many of the spirituality systems in the western part of Jamaica was heavily influenced by the Igbo spiritual system, Obeah, where many of these spiritual traditionalist leaders were the Obeah and the Dibias on the island. So this spiritual system was heavily influenced in the resistance of the Igbo people. The British Empire feared the Igbo people so much that they said that the Igbo enslaved peoples were the most rebellious and notorious resistors out of all African ethnic groups brought to the Western Hemisphere. Also, many Igbo words and Jamaican words are highly related and intertwined, that many people believe that a lot of the Jamaican words in the Patois language and the Jamaican proverbs come straight from the Igbo proverbs and Igbo language. Certain words like unu or una or idioms and certain Jamaican words are in fact Igbo words. Also heavily influenced is the Maroon music of the time. Many of the Maroon songs were highly influenced by Igbo music. One of those Maroon songs and Jamaican songs is actually called Ebo song, slave resistance on the island. Jamaica had one of the most highly active slave resistance across the island during the enslavement periods on the island than many of the other places in the Caribbean seas. The Eboes, the Congolese, the Akan people, Mandinka people, Angolian people put down massive military campaigns on the Jamaica island. So far, we know that through advertisements and articles that there were so many slave resistance and slave rebellions on the island that many of these rebellions have been lost forever through documentation. But we do know that in 1815, at the St. Elizabeth Parish, 250 Igbo people, Angolian people, Akan people put down one of the most massive slave resistance and slave rebellions in the island's history that would lead up to today, March 22nd, 1816, where the Eboes took command of the slave resistance movement. The Eboes would do something traditionally and rarely done only on a few occasions through slave resistance and slave rebellions. The Eboes would initiate and anoint a king of the Eboes in the Western Territory of the Jamaican island, so that when they liberated themselves from the British Empire, they would bring into existence an Ebo nation in that territory, an autonomous Ebo nation in that territory. So the Eboes, with 2 other captains, would lead a slave resistance, a plan to liberate themselves March 22nd, 1816. Just like all the other slave rebellions in history, this rebellion was also informed on. So the British Empire quelled it back quick and captured the 3 leaders of the Igbo Black River Slave Rebellion. The king of the Eboes would escape one more time and flee to the Eboes and hide with the Eboe spiritual traditionalists. But he would be recaptured one more time and executed along with other Igbo enslaved peoples for sparking and planning a slave rebellion on the Jamaican island. Last but not least, out of the Igbo Black River Slave Rebellion, many people believe that a lot of the cultural events are commemorating the Black River Slave Rebellion. One in particular, the John Canoe Festival that takes place on the island, I do believe around Christmas time. Many people say that this festival is heavily influenced by the Ebo Ikechukwu Festival, which honors and commemorates the Ebo Yam God. Also, many dance and other songs and music and hip hop and things of that nature also symbolizes what took place on that day, which is the Igbo Black River Slave Rebellion. So on this day, we send salutations out to those great ancestors of the Black River Slave Rebellion. We honor them and commemorate them and the Jamaican Maroons. So may their revolutionary spirits live forever, and long live the slave resistance and slave rebellion of the notorious Ebo people. Free the land by any means necessary.